Hi, my name is Tulia Martinez, and this is my informative speech video submission. So it's titled Just a Pencil Stroke Away from Japan. Have you ever been assigned work involving art? Worry no more, I'll be teaching you the characteristics, the tools, and finally, how to draw in a manga/anime style. I'll show you how to create a basic 3/4 facing view of a female manga/anime character according to what I have both experienced in both my 7 years of art experience and outside sources. In showing how to draw in a manga/anime style, I will explain the following: what is a manga/anime art style, tools needed to begin, and a basic step-by-step process. What is a manga/anime drawing style? So the characteristics of manga/anime are most characterized by their proportions. Adobe, a company that produces softwares for artists, states large eyes, very narrow lips, noses, and chins as the most notable features. I got this from an article called How to Draw Manga / Getting Started for Beginners, and I didn't have any dates, like specific dates, except from when I retrieved it, which was November 20th, 2020. The proportions completely bend the idea of realistic proportions, though I do recommend you study like anatomy and stuff because it does help. So next we're going to be going on to tools. So in order to draw, you will need the basics. Fancy tools aren't necessary as it's all in the artist. You'll need a pencil, a piece of paper, a G pen or a pen, and of course your imagination. And I have SpongeBob, the GIF right there. And I got this from a source it was titled The Difference Between Digital Manga and Hand-Drawn Manga, and I retrieved it on November 21st, 2020. So let's get started. Once you have all your tools and everything ready, we will begin with a general idea. Don't worry if it changes, because in an interview I saw titled Death Note artist Takeshi Obata on characters, which I retrieved on November 21st, 2020, says that he changed his concept for one of his characters, Ryuk, multiple times. So if things change, it's fine. Just go with it and it'll be amazing. So after you finish brainstorming, we will begin with a rough sketch. Try to keep it as loose as possible so it's less rigid. So here are a bit of guidelines. You have like the cross, and then this line going from the ear to the cheek. This is where the eyes should be. So 3, now we will draw the iconic anime/manga eyes, which are typically very large. So make sure you draw them pretty big. Of course, not all mangas/animes are going to look the same. So yes, you can stylize your art. It doesn't necessarily have to be like a certain way. It's just good to cover the basics. So as you can see, I drew the eyes where that guideline is at. So now you're going to add the nose, the mouth, and the chin. And usually they have like pretty narrow faces and very narrow chins. I have no idea why. That's just kind of the way they draw them. And as you can see, it's round up here, but it gets very narrow, and that's exactly what you need to achieve. So we have that, and you see the arrows pointing, how it like all kind of comes together like this. Sorry if I'm really washed out, it's my lamp. Okay, we're almost done. So for the hair, manga/anime hair tends to be very bulky. So, and there's a very large forehead space, as you can see, from the eyes to the top of the head. There's a huge gap. So make sure you leave space for that. And so the last step is refining your drawing and kind of outlining it with like a G pen or a pen. A G pen is basically like this nib, this metal nib that you put in ink, and it gives you various line widths like this. So it'll go from thick to very thin. I'm doing this digitally, but it's essentially the same thing on paper. But a pen will do just fine. You just have to go over certain parts. So as you can see, like where the eye is at, so if I were facing this way where the eye is at, or this way, where the eye is at, it's a bit more thicker, and then where the ear is at, it's a bit more thicker. So adding these variations kind of gives your art more definition, and it's essential in like manga slash anime art. And then lastly, if you want to erase, you don't have to. Some people like to leave the sketch because it creates a different vibe. It kind of makes it more like dark almost. But if you want to erase and make it cleaner, then you can. And now that our character is done, I hope I taught you about the characteristics of manga slash anime, the tools, and the actual step-by-step process. Oh, and don't forget, practice makes perfect, according to an article I read called The Right Time to Learn Mechanisms and Optimization of Spaced Learning, which I found on a government website. Once again, there was no date, but I did retrieve it on November 21st, 2020. So thank you for watching and have a good day.